Okay, I'm going to put myself on a timer because academicians typically go over time, so I kept trying to find it. I am indeed honored and privileged to be with you here. I give greetings from my president, Rudy Crew, and our provost, Augustine Okoriki, who is from Nigeria. I'd like to just tell you a little bit about what I'm going to tell you about, and then tell you, and then I'm going to leave. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the HBCU business deans, the work that is already going on between HBCU business deans. I also want to acknowledge one of my colleagues and friends who's here from another HBCU collaboration. That's the HBCU Human Rights Group, and he's here from Morgan State. Would you please stand, Dr. Terry? Yes. So my point here is that we are already collaborating, we're already working together, and so if we can leverage some of the work that we are already doing, it is good. The second piece, I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the work that Medgar Evers College is doing and what it has been doing in the way of international collaborations with the scholars, with the students, and with the administrators. And then finally, I want to bring the story home on an individual case where we took a student abroad and how that student personally developed his own business in another country, and that work came out of the work that we did when we first took them. The message is the students have to be exposed. The students have to be exposed. They can't know what they don't know. And so in my own personal life, and this is why I'm so wedded to this, at the age of 20-something, I went to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. I was there when Julius Nyerere was there. I worked as an economist. I was one of the first female students who was in the PhD program in economics at Howard University. Howard University is the first HBCU to have a PhD program in economics. And when I was there, I saw the need. I also had my only daughter, my only child. And so the issue is not just what you do professionally, but what you do personally. My daughter has gone back and forth to Dar es Salaam. I have been back and forth all over the continent. But my granddaughter, who is 6 years old, has not been to the continent yet. And on July 14th, she will make her maiden voyage so that no one has to tell her what Africa is. She will see for herself what Africa is. And so let me just tell you about let me watch my time. So let me just tell you a little bit about the HBCU business deans. They have been around for the last 2 decades. They work together with each other to collaborate and to leverage the resources. You know, there are many, many colleges throughout the U.S., but the way we find power is in uniting together, collaborating together, coordinating. What does the business needs? How can we leverage entrepreneurship among our students? How can we leverage the needs and desires of the industry so that our students will meet it and be competitive? So we already are doing that work, and I want to extend an arm. There's a board of directors of the HBCU business deans, and that board can help get the message that we need to work more and more collaboratively on the continent. And so in terms of some of the things we already do the study abroad, we do experiential learning, and we are developing the talent pipeline. Okay, so in terms of broad-based experience at Medgar Evers College, I'd say I've been there 5 years, and in the last 3 years, in 18 months, we took students, a group of students, to about 10 to 15 countries. First, we raised the money, and we raised the money in tech and entrepreneurship. Tech, and I'm very pleased to hear of the work in terms of fintech. And one of the countries that we went to was Kenya, and in Nairobi, Kenya, we went there 3 times. Now, let me tell you why we have to go often. The first time, the students was just awed, and they said, "Oh, Dean, we got to up our game. The Kenyans are really doing stuff." Because what have they been told? They haven't been told about a lot of the technology and a lot of the proficiency in Africa. So when they see it for themselves. That was on the on the first trip. By the second trip, they were saying, well, how can we do business? I didn't have to tell them what business is to do. They were making their own networks. They were developing their own contacts. So my message is, it takes more than one time. You got to go and go and go, because, oh, you see, I'm already out of time. I told you it would happen. All right, I'm gonna end by saying I like to story tell about my students, because that is the reason for us being. And so one of the students who had, on his second try, he had developed contacts to build his website in Nairobi. He had developed contacts to source his supplies in Nairobi. He is an accounting major from a little small island called St. Lucia. Most of our students are immigrants from either the Caribbean or Africa. That's the story of Medgar Evers. And so he graduated last week. 2 weeks from now, he will be back in Nairobi on his own dime, developing his business, and he plans to launch into July, and all of the goods and services are coming out of Nairobi. That's the power of an education.